The following demonstrations feature a wide variety of custom applications that utilize Newton's unparalleled flexibility and advanced connectivity for mobile data entry and communications. This application was developed by Cornet, a systems integration partner on the East Coast. Cornet specializes in sales and marketing systems and has developed this application for a leading pharmaceutical company for distribution in the summer of '94. The pharmaceutical company built the application both to streamline the paperwork process associated with the sales process and to provide the reps with tools to help them conduct more effective sales calls. Custom applications like the Cornet-developed application are kept in the Newton Extras drawer. By tapping on the Cornet icon, we get to the first screen. It allows the reps to very quickly see the status of their application. This gas gauge metaphor across the bottom of the screen quickly shows how many records have been saved for transfer to the host system the next time they connect. This application will work with both a Windows PC desktop computer and a host system. The Newton generates the data structures for both of these architectures. The first screen is the key information screen. This is what the sales reps like to call their parking lot screen. It's a very quick snapshot of all the information they'll need before they go in to make a call on a physician. The sales rep simply selects the physician they're going to be seeing. They're then presented with a variety of information that's been downloaded from their mainframe system. They're able to tell from this screen that this is a C-value account. Accounts are rated in value types as A, B, or C. An A account generates the highest amount of revenue. The reps are able to see the street address for this doctor, but since physicians often have multiple addresses, the reps have the ability to choose a different address. This is important because each address could be associated with a different federal DEA number. Since the sales reps are typically mobile and often do a lot of their business from a payphone, they have the ability to click on this telephone icon. The sales rep can then hold their Newton up to a telephone handset, and the Newton will generate the DTMF tones necessary to actually place the call. Other information on this screen shows the reps the last time they were in to see this physician. In this case, it was on the 14th. They made a group presentation, and at that time they planned to make their next call on the 2nd. A face-to-face call. Since there are a number of sales reps from the same company calling on this same physician, this echo field tells the sales rep the last time somebody from their company called on this particular physician. Their call objective for the next visit is captured as well as some notes about a sovereign presentation they were planning to make. Of particular interest, the sales reps can review the visit plan determined with their sales manager for this C-level account. In this case, the plan called for at least 3 visits this year. Here the application indicates they're on target for actually seeing this physician 5 times. The application provides reps with a powerful sales tool to very quickly scan the various products they sell to a particular physician and the associated revenue. Note that for Drendex, which this particular physician happens to prescribe 90% of the time, they generate about $11,000 per year. They're also able to see what their total market share for Drendex is, in this case 98%. Also from this screen, the sales reps are able to plan what their objectives ought to be for this call. They're able to tell, for instance, that this doctor is only prescribing Sofran 80% of the time. It's generating about $79,000 in revenue, so there's quite a bit of upside left in Sofran. The Newton application provides a lot of versatility. When the reps are out on a call, the call screen allows the rep to either go back and choose different doctors or physicians quickly, in case they were to run into one in the hallway, for example. Or they could change the address if it's different from the one listed. They select the type of call they're going to be making. We'll say this time they're going to be making clinic rounds. They choose the actual date for the activity using the Newton date picker, which is consistent throughout Newton, and allows the rep to very quickly select the date this activity will take place. The system's intelligent enough to allow the rep only to record past events, not future events. The sales rep then records each of these presentations that they would like to make. We'll concentrate on Drendex as our primary interest. Our secondary is Crowlex, and Zoflex is the final selection. When you close this screen, those selections are put in a list view, and the sales rep transitions easily to the sample screen. Providing doctors with samples of medications they would like to see the physician prescribe is a very important marketing tool in the pharmaceuticals business. At this screen, the rep can easily enter in the quantities for each of these products. When the screen is closed, their selected quantities are presented in a list view. Since there are regulatory requirements surrounding the dropping off of prescription pharmaceuticals, the doctor has to sign the Newton MessagePad to certify that they have, in fact, received these samples and to verify that they are the products listed. The sales rep then has the option to choose whether or not a receipt should be generated for this call, and if the Yes button is pressed, a receipt will be generated from the mainframe system and automatically mailed. Finally, the rep is able to capture any quick notes. There may be something that the physician said concerning other pharmaceuticals not in the rep's product line. Newton lets the rep make a note to call, say, Dave about that information. When the rep closes this screen, they have the choice of saving the information or canceling. If this record is saved, it goes into Newton's out basket to be transmitted the next time a connection's made. This is indicated by the positive increment on the gauge. Sales reps also have the ability to go back and review various calls they've made. By selecting Fred Abrams, we have all the information we captured at the last call. Finally, the application provides a facility for the sales reps to make quick notes when they're on the run. Most of these transactions take place either in the hallway when they run into a doctor or when the physician's in a hurry to get to another appointment. Newton's deferred recognition capability allows them to write in standard ink mode, and then upon double tapping that entry, Newton transforms the information into text form. This quick note feature also allows the sales reps, for instance, to draw a map or maybe even make some notes about some absorption rate information that the doctor gave them concerning a particular pharmaceutical. All in all, Cornette's developed a very useful and powerful application on the Newton that may very likely revolutionize the pharmaceutical sales industry. This demonstration illustrates Newton's capability for wireless and wired network connectivity. Wayfarer Communications provides mobile client-server software that enables Newton MessagePads to connect directly to enterprise networks. The client-server architecture provides several advantages. First, it allows many Newtons, up to many hundreds, to connect simultaneously and run the same application from a single Wayfarer server on the network. Second, it allows Newtons to access and update corporate databases. This may include SQL databases, electronic mail systems, fax, terminal, paging, and other communication services. For example, this Newton is connected using the TCP/IP protocols that are part of Wayfarer's client-server software, running on the built-in Local Talk hardware and Apple Talk software protocols. This Newton is connected wirelessly through DigitalOcean's radio frequency modem, which permits users to use Newtons in a hands-free environment in an office building, manufacturing shop floor, or a warehouse. Newtons can also be connected by standard landline modems or with other wide-area wireless data services. We can access SQL databases, email systems, and paging services directly from within the Newton toolkit, which dramatically shortens development time. In this demonstration, we will access a Salesforce automation application called Quench Soft Drinks. We're presented with a pick list of sales personnel. We'll choose Greg Seitz. Greg will log in and connect directly onto the corporate network using the TCP/IP networking protocols. We see the status reporting connected, then logging on inventory, and finally requesting inventory. We see the inventory at distribution data was downloaded directly from the Wayfarer server on the network. This server is a Windows NT machine running Wayfarer server software and speaking the TCP/IP networking protocol. Next, the salesperson chooses a customer, say Sarah's Bakery. They proceed to order different quantities of soft drinks, such as 10 cases of cola, 5 cases of Diet Cola, 20 cases of orange soda, and then finally 1 case of cherry soda. An important feature of this application is that as soon as the order is placed on this Newton in the order area, the information is sent over the network to the server where it's updated. The updated numbers are then returned back to the Newton. These updates are returned not to just one Newton, but multiple Newtons that are connected to this server. For example, if we go over to this Newton supporting wireless connectivity, we can order 10 cases of cola, 10 cases of Diet Cola, 20 cases of orange soda, and 5 cases of cherry soda. The order that was placed on the wireless connected Newton was sent over the network, and the inventory at distribution was updated on the Newton. The inventory was also simultaneously updated through the hardwired network connection on this Newton. This is an important advantage of a client-server environment with online access to key corporate data. With this feature, multiple salespeople in the field can ascertain inventory availability. Let's change the customer to Pizza Plus. We'll order more cases of Diet Cola and more cases of orange. We'll send the order and quickly see the update on this Newton where the order was placed, and also simultaneously on the wireless Newton in use by another salesperson out in the field. Also, within this application, we can request that the Newton send a page. For example, the sales rep could observe that at the customer quick stop, supply is critical and should be restocked now. We can send a page which will transmit to a delivery person back in the warehouse, who in turn will expedite an order to this particular customer quick stop. Similarly, another sales rep could indicate that supply is adequate for a particular customer and that the next delivery should be skipped. The rep sends a page which is sent over the network and delivered by the Wayfarer server to Mobilecom's nationwide paging service. There are other examples of using Newton intelligence in a mobile client-server software environment. For example, if the sales rep sends an order for 100 cases of cola, we notice here that the cola inventory has gone below 100. This flags a warning that cola is on back order. Again, this warning appears on both the Newton that sent the order and on any other Newton connected to the system at the time. All the field sales reps will be aware simultaneously of the back order situation for this particular product. In summary, Wayfarer's mobile client-server software enables Newtons to connect directly to enterprise networks to access online SQL databases, paging services, fax services, and email services. It's based on TCP/IP networking protocols, which will integrate Newtons directly with the most popular open standards in enterprise computing. Finally, using the power of Newton script, Wayfair has provided APIs that enable developers, including systems integrators, consultants, and in-house developers, to write custom applications using the Newton Toolkit that integrate Newtons into a mobile client-server environment using either wired or wireless, local or remote means of connectivity. Tupperware executives wanted to investigate field sales force automation using Newton. This proof of concept was developed for Tupperware with the Newton Toolkit in less than 7 days. A major motivation for this application was to reduce the errors involved in the manual data entry process used by each of the 100,000 Tupperware sales consultants. A second motivation was to improve the quality of the interaction in front of the customer by shortening the data entry process. This had the added benefit of increasing valuable selling time. The Newton application also explores the possibility of redesigning Tupperware's supply chain using electronic order entry to deliver product directly to their customers. This is the splash screen for the EasyTops Tupperware application. It very easily allows navigation to any part of the application, which mimics the non-linear way in which Tupperware sales consultants interact with their customers. The first thing that a rep would typically do is to synchronize their Newton data with their desktop computer. In their case, the back-end system was a FoxPro database. This display simulates the connection from the Newton to the FoxPro database. The first thing the application would do is send any orders waiting in the out basket. It would then retrieve any new pricing or product information. The rep then goes easily to the application area where they write orders. This process takes place in front of the customer, so it's essential that it be easy to enter information and navigate through the application. This is where the consultant is identified. This number could just as easily be a name. These selections are in the product codes. In this case, let's say we're placing an order for the hostess gift. Since the ship to address may be different than the customer address, the application provides a way to reference and change address information if necessary. At this point, the sales rep would then choose an item. By tapping on the item button, a pick list is displayed that scrolls up or down to provide selection from any of Tupperware's 300+ product line. The application could be designed to have different icons represent product types or shapes for very easy navigation. Right now, it's shown as a pick list. As you close this window, you can choose the quantity from a pick list of popular quantities. By hitting the Place Order button, the order is entered. Smart application design requires the consultant to not only choose a lid for this particular product, but also indicate the correct color. The most salient and justifying feature for this application probably is found in the automation of the order entry and calculation process. As you can see, the product is now entered in a list, and all the calculations that need to be made for the sales rep, which typically takes quite a bit of time to do in front of the customer, are done automatically. It provides the total product charges, the handling charges, the taxable totals, all calculated so that we're just a credit card swipe or a check away from completing the transaction. Tupperware also wanted the ability to facilitate using their 3x5 card product reference system, which is the way they do business today. Newton provided a convenient way to simulate the usage of the 3x5 card sales system. The rep can step through this in whatever card sequence they want. It gives them the ability to not only get the product features and information available at a glance, but also on the flip side of the card are suggestions for conversation starters that help them begin a dialogue about a particular product. As you can see, this palette is movable, so if it covers any information, you can move it out of the way. Since the customer may want to place an order for the product on the 3x5 card screen being presented by the rep, Newton gives them the ability to actually order from any of the 3x5 card screens. The application also shows the sales rep how well they're doing. This is accomplished by displaying the retail price of each product, subtracting out the consulting cost, and showing them the profit they're making on this transaction. Tupperware used this application to explore ways they might be able to redesign their sales distribution channel. The proof of concept only took about 7 days to develop. It was a valuable investment for Tupperware to be able to test their ideas for improving the sales process. A variety of peripherals can be integrated with the Newton to augment its functionality. This application was developed by Allpen to show how a barcode reader can be used as a primary method of input in a mobile quality assurance application for a medical scalpel manufacturer. The pen can also be used to select and manipulate the application. Along the manufacturing line, the quality assurance manager is able to input the barcode off the side of the scalpel. That information then populates the rest of the field. The product in this case is a biopsy scalpel. A brief description of it is part of the barcoded input. At this point, the manager indicates at what point in the process a failure was observed. Let's say this occurred in the pre-burn-in stage. We can now select additional information. This is a graphic of the defective scalpel. We indicate the defect. In this case, it was a loose blade. We can even mark on it and draw an arrow to illustrate where the loose blade occurred along the scalpel. We also have the ability to add quick comments. We can record what shift the defect occurred on. We can note the inspector. At the end of this process, we can review the data to make sure it's correct before uploading it to the host. This demonstration shows integration of Newton with a barcode reader. Newtons can also be used in conjunction with other peripherals such as GPS units, digital cameras, and test instrument equipment. This application was developed for the State of California OES, the Governor's Office of Emergency Services. That's the agency within the state that has responsibility for coordinating assistance during and after major catastrophes. They work very closely with FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Apple was called in after the California Northridge earthquake to help the agency achieve more efficient, accurate, and faster data collection on damaged sites in the LA area. Integrating Newton with a global positioning unit, a solution was developed to streamline and automate the agency's operation. It was accomplished by putting their standard form on Newton with a connection and integration to the GPS unit, which provides location positioning anywhere in the world within 20 meters. The application delivers the means to collect data on any damaged area and pinpoint the exact location. This is the damage survey report, which is the standard form used by OES and FEMA. At the top is an application number. The date stamp is entered by the Newton application. If we want to, we can also timestamp it. What's interesting to note here as well is Newton's ability, connected to the GPS unit, to get the atomic time off an atomic clock on the GPS satellite. We next enter the form number and indicate the kind of structure we're surveying. For this demonstration, we'll select a water control facility as a damaged site. We can then enter whether this is a final report or not and who's going to pay for it. If there's an applicant's name, you can either hand write that in or you can double tap on it and very quickly add the name with the keyboard. The information on longitude and latitude, which is the location information from the GPS unit, would go in these cells. They would display a reading if we were actually outside at this time. We're then asked what percentage of the work is completed. That's entered from a pull-down list. We enter what county we're in. We'll say Orange County. Who's going to do the work? We'll say it's done in combination. Will it be paid by FEMA, the federal agency, or will it be paid out of local funds? Who's the inspector? We indicate the local representative and then choose the name of the regulator involved in this project. We also have the ability to capture more information. We might want to have more information about the location based on the GPS data coming in from the satellite feed. Newton displays the information about the signal, the longitude and latitude, and other data which is essential when you're in the field. It's important to note that in the California application, they'll be obtaining positioning information which is accurate to about 10 meters. If we tap the Record GPS, it attaches that information to the report. Afterwards, we upload this data to a PC, in this case, running Windows. It will be used in their GIS system, which gives them mapping information, as well as in a statistical analysis package and other reporting routines. Besides gathering the GPS location, we can also sketch out information. We can identify this as part of the road and circle the damaged areas, for example. We can also label it if we want to. The last thing we will do is look at some additional detailed information that's collected. This is where additional notes can be added. In conclusion, this application allows the agency to collect the information as they've done before, only now electronically. No rekeying is needed, and accuracy is much higher. In the emotionally charged atmosphere of emergency situations, integration of the Newton and GPS unit result in a high productivity return to speed along needed assistance. This demonstration illustrates a real estate application called Questra. Questra is a program that was developed by Integration Systems and is being distributed by PRC Realty Systems. Using Questra on the Newton, real estate agents can connect into multiple listing services to access listing information in real time. This system allows realtors to be more responsive to their clients and to project a more professional image by having the information the customer wants on the spot. This application was recently presented at the National Association of Realtors Conference and was voted Best of Show. The splash screen lists a number of different services from which we can choose. The first thing a realtor might do if out with their client is to connect into a multiple listing service. The application brings up a selection screen that's used to enter various preferences suited for this particular client. The first thing we might do is enter a specific geographic area, say Area 2. From the numeric pad, we'll enter exactly what we want to show the client. In this case, within Area 2, we'll say we want to show them properties which have a maximum listing price of $250,000. Using a modem, we'll connect into the host-based system and begin the search. We'll select Replace since we want to replace various listings that may already be in the system and are no longer needed. The application will dial up and connect into the host system. You'll see various status indications as it goes through to connect into a local Board of Realtors MLS system. It found 27 listings within Area 2 at $250,000 and below. The gauge shows the status of the downloading operation as the listings are received. Now that it's downloaded the 27 listings, we can disconnect from the host system and display the listings received. Here you see a display of 10 of the 27 choices. We can select any one of these properties we want to show the client. We can then view additional information and details on that particular property. It indicates if we can visit the home or if we need to schedule an appointment beforehand. It also lets us know if there is any financing available. Through a mortgage analysis, if we find they cannot afford a $250,000 house, the application allows us to search that same listing base for the properties which may be in the, say, $230,000 range. We enter in $230,000 and search through that same database for those listings. We discover that there are 16 that match out of the 27 in the $230,000 range. And again, see an overview of those choices. This application is being deployed nationwide right now. This real-time information not only saves realtors time, but also allows them to be much more responsive to their customers. This application illustrates one way in which Apple is applying Newton technology internally. This is a travel and planning application that will allow Apple employees to both plan and book their tickets through their Newtons. It's being developed by Apple's internal travel group in conjunction with Bear River Associates. It will help Apple reduce the cost of travel services and make it easier for employees to plan and adjust their travel by providing direct access to travel information wherever they are. And like most projects at Apple, it has a sense of humor. This is a client-server application that allows the Newton to work directly with the travel server at Apple Travel in Austin, Texas. The first thing an employee does is to connect to the Apple Travel server to check flight availability. This is where they choose the departure city, let's say in this case, San Francisco. Then the city they wish to visit, we'll say New York. The date of travel is selected using the standard Newton date picker. The time of travel uses the standard Newton time picker. By choosing update, the Newton then sends a query to the server to get a list of available flights. In this case, there are 2 flights. We're inclined to take the one that has no stops since we're flying cross-country. By selecting our choice, we're presented with some additional information. This flight departs from San Francisco at 2:01 and arrives at 5:35 on the 7th. There's no meal served. This plane is a Boeing 747. There are 10 first-class seats available, 10 business class, and 60 coach. On average, this flight arrives 80% of the time on time. If you'd like to save this information to browse later, you can click Save, and this copies it onto the Newton Notepad. You also have the ability at this time to send a message to Apple Travel. This formulates a very brief email message for us. We might write in, "Please try and get me a first-class seat on this particular flight." Then I note to call me at this phone number or fax me at this phone number or maybe even send a voicemail. By clicking on the Mail button, this drops this message into the Out basket. If you would like to view what's going to be sent, you see a formatted email message that will be sent off to Apple Travel. After we've selected the flight departure time and arrival time, we may want to know the weather in both our departure and arrival cities. Let's say in this case we're interested in seeing how things look in New York. We see that skies will be cloudy in the morning but give way to sunny conditions in the afternoon and the next day. There's also a bulletin board that's provided. For instance, if they lost some tickets, there's information that tells them what steps or procedures they should take. There's also a preferences screen, which allows employees to keep track of travel account information, such as frequent flyer status, types of rental cars, or a schedule history in the various cities they typically travel to and from. There's also an interface to view all of the flights that were scheduled.
Gotcha.
If we update, This will pull back all the travel itineraries that we've scheduled. We can check a particular trip. In this case, Denver is the only one that's scheduled. Here we have information about both of those trips. So, in summary, this application illustrates how anytime, anywhere, access to travel information can both reduce costs and improve service. Faros Technology, a systems integrator based in Cincinnati, is working with a progressive county in Texas to develop a traffic citation issuance application. The goal is to make the whole process of recording citations and collecting fines a much more streamlined, efficient system. The officer would open the application by choosing Issue Citation. Most of the information on this page would be collected from the driver's license number or from the license plate to populate the rest of the fields. The officer would verify that the personal information is correct. Again, these fields would be filled in from a driver's license number. However, let's say the officer sees the height information is wrong. They could make a change there. If the person had changed cities from their last driver's license update, the officer has the ability to change that. Also, the zip code can be altered. This screen indicates the information has not only been entered, but is correct and acceptable. The next thing the officer might do is to check and make sure that the license information is accurate. This information is collected through their car radio across a local area network. The officer can still make changes. Maybe the driver had changed states or the information was incorrect. Maybe they'd switched plates to a Honda. The model, make, and year may have been incorrect. Maybe they've painted the car a different color since the last time this information was recorded. Here, they indicate whether this was a 2-door or a 4-door model. When the officer closes that screen, again, there's a visual indication that the information has been filled in and certified as correct. Then, they may mark whether or not there was an accident involved with this citation issuance. They mark what the weather conditions were at the time of the accident, as well as the type of roadway. Then they record the violation. They can choose a number of violations from a list of standard violations. Procedures information is recorded and viewed, providing an opportunity to make sure they're capturing the information they need correctly. The officer is then able to apply this violation to this particular citation. Some of you may be all too aware of the following procedures. The issuing officer notes his or her name. They pick a judge, a court date, and a location. And then choose a date for the court appearance. Then, of course, you sign and hereby agree to appear at the time and place designated below. The officer issues the citation by either printing it, beaming it back to the squad car, or sending it to the headquarters over a wireless link. Since the majority of citations currently go uncollected, this application is expected to improve collection rates, as well as streamline the citation process. RxPad is a smart prescription pad that helps doctors automate the prescription process in large institutional hospitals. It's being developed as part of a much larger application being developed for the Department of Defense in conjunction with KPMG. When completed, the application will allow Army doctors to access patients' medical records and order lab tests as well as write prescriptions, all from the patient's bedside or remotely if necessary. The first thing a doctor does is choose a patient record. This list of patients is generated by the hospital mainframe computer over a wireless network. These are the patients that are under this particular doctor's care. The next thing the doctor does is choose a medication. There are a variety of ways to choose medications. We'll write in the letter A to get a list of all the medications that begin with A. For instance, Actifed tablets begin with A. We can actually go online and get the formulary list from the host computer. In this case, we'll pick codeine. We'll select a dosage, number of times per day, the duration, whether or not refills are valid, the number of refills, and if usage of a generic is okay. The cost of the prescription is then shown in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. There are also some indications. In this case, the indications are moderate to severe pain, and substitutions are morphine or a variety of other medications. The physician then has the ability to send this prescription directly to the pharmacy over the local area network. They may print the prescription to the formulary on a laser printer that might be next to the pharmacist, or they may even fax it. The physician is first asked to sign the prescription. Before they send it, they can preview it. Here's a thumbnail view of the cover page and the prescription. They can then fax it. To write another prescription, they can delete the prescription that's on the screen or clear it. This application will speed up the process of writing prescriptions and making them available to the patient. More important, it will eliminate unreadable prescriptions, currently 20% of all prescriptions, and ensure that patients don't receive improper combinations of drugs that can result from multiple physicians treating the same patient. This section will highlight two examples that were created with the Bookmaker application. Bookmaker provides the ability to easily put digital information into a format readily accessible from the Newton. This example uses the Apple Fax book that contains detailed information on Apple products. First, the application displays the table of contents page. From here, we're presented with a list of sections available for viewing. This book was created from the data file, a FrameMaker file sent to the publishers to create the printed paper copy of Apple Fax. We'll first select, say, desktop computers. We now see the table of contents for that section. By clicking on Quadra 950, it will bring up the information on the Quadra 950 exactly as it is in the printed book version. However, this application is a bit more advanced. By applying a little programming using the Newton Toolkit, icons were created for ease of navigation. For example, if we click on the icon that resembles a memory chip, it provides the various memory configurations that are available for that computer. If we select the monitor icon, it displays the different video configurations that are possible with this computer. This information, originally created for a hard copy book, is now available anytime, anywhere, and illustrates the kind of content that can be put into a Newton application. This second application is the Apple phone book. The data file for the telephone numbers of all the approximately 14,000 Apple employees worldwide was downloaded from the host. The phone book information was placed on the Newton using Newton Toolkit and the Bookmaker application. Opening up the application, we're provided with the list starting with the A names. We can scroll through the list, or to find something quickly, hit the Overview button. Let's say we want to find Michael Spindler. We scroll here to find S and highlight it. The S names are listed, and again, we can scroll through to the name. If we wanted to do it even more quickly, we could simply access the Find command and write in Spindler. In just a few seconds, it will search through the 14,000 name directory and display the request quickly. This is a second example of existing digital information that can easily be incorporated into Newton applications.